By show of hands, how many of you have heard of Down syndrome? What about cystic fibrosis? 1p36 deletion syndrome? Down syndrome is the most common chromosomal abnormality, and cystic fibrosis is the most common genetic disease in the United States. 1p36 deletion syndrome is the most common of rare disorders, affecting 1 in 5 to 10,000. So what is it? It's a rare chromosomal abnormality that causes intellectual disability. The name is quite literal, based on where the deletion occurs. It's a genetic deletion on the first chromosome, located on the short arm, which is labeled P, at the third band and sixth subband. Each child with the syndrome is different, due to the size and location of the deletion determining which issues the individuals will face. The most common characteristics of 1p36 deletion syndrome are low muscle tone, seizure disorders, growth and feeding problems, developmental delays, and they have distinct facial features, such as a small mouth, pointed chin, flat nose, and low set ears. The deletion can just happen, which is considered de novo. It can also be the event of a parental carrier, which means one or both parents have all the correct information on chromosome 1, it's just out of order. This is also called a balanced translocation. My family is quite rare. I have 2 boys with 1p36 deletion syndrome. My oldest, Colton, falls into the common characteristics. He has a deletion size of 1.67, which means he's missing 1.67 million base pairs, or at least 22 genes. He's 8 years old, nonverbal, gets his nutrition from a feeding tube, is still in diapers, has seizures, behaviors, and the whole 9 yards. He will forever be in my care, in my home, and fully dependent on me to meet his needs until he takes his last breath. My youngest son, Cannon, has his deletion size about half of that, but his missing piece is on the opposite end of chromosome 1. He and Colton are literally polar opposites. While Cannon was very delayed on all milestones, his features are not as prominent. He's 3.5 years old, just recently started talking in sentences. He has to wear glasses, has a bone disorder, an enlarged aortic valve, and horrific behaviors, but he is fully functional. He'll be able to go through life with few accommodations and grow to no longer need my 24/7 supervision. So now that you know what 1p36 deletion syndrome is, let's talk about why it needs national recognition and awareness. While 1p36 is the most common of rare disorders, it is still not widely known. There is such little awareness and recognition that it took years to diagnose both of my boys. Without recognition, such as a known disorder like Down syndrome, the services are almost non-existent. Because it isn't widely known, it isn't classified as a disability on its own. To get the help your child with 1P needs, they have to have underlying medical problems with additional diagnoses. My oldest child has enough medical issues, but my youngest does not, and we could end up paying up to $40,000 a year out of pocket for his care. A friend of mine has a son with Down syndrome. He has no health issues, but he has access to everything that he needs covered under state disability services. You see the difference here? My child with 1p36 deletion syndrome is not sick enough to receive help, yet a child with a very known disorder who isn't sick at all has free access to resources and services to see that he lives his best quality of life. Don't you think 1p36 deletion syndrome should be nationally recognized? Before I started speaking, most of you had no idea what 1p36 deletion syndrome is, and probably had no opinion on the pressing issue of giving it the appropriate awareness that it deserves. Now you do. My family is a statistic. My family is rare. Think about this. The chances of our situation happening to anyone in the world are less than 0.25%. We are that 0.25. We are the only documented family in the world in this specific situation. With proper recognition, we would be able to lead a life outside the walls of our home. With proper awareness, my boys would go from a statistic briefly thought about on Rare Disease Day once a year to a human being with the most contagious smile in the world, the greatest teachers there ever were, and a community across the globe rallying together to make sure they live their life to the fullest. When you have a special needs child, your life changes in an instant. And when you're isolated on that journey, most of your time is spent feeling like the moment you finally gain the strength to paddle your head above the water, a 10-foot wave slams you back down. Don't be the strength behind that wave. Help me calm the raging storm for children and adults with 1p36 deletion syndrome.